Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ask Dr. Pickel show, where we help people find health answers to help solve their health problems. All right. Well, today, kind of interesting topic. And many of you may have heard about, and I'm sure all of you have probably heard about this type of oil. So this type of oil, I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag here, is soy oil. So soy oil, let's talk about soy oil a little bit here because, soy for quite some time was purported as, hey, this is some healthy stuff for you. This is some great stuff. And in fact, I would say, during the past 40 years, basically millions of acres of America's farmland, which once really grew a variety of different vegetables, were basically converted to the sole use of soybeans and soybean farming. So farming soybeans is really, I would say, and don't farmers get too mad at me here, this is a safer bet for farmers. The reason why is because there's a lot of subsidies, tax credits, price guarantees, low interest loans to farmers who use this type of healthy crop. Unfortunately, it turns out that these health assumptions were completely wrong and not accurate really at all. So the problem is, though, is these experts are really only discovering the truth now after 40 years. The problem is, though, is at this point, soybean oil is about 90% of all seed oil that's produced at this time. So the thing about it is, this soybean oil is high in what are called saturated fats. And in the past they used more corn oil and called it vegetable oil, which it was just as bad. And people finally realized that, and it was causing a lot of health issues. So finally they said, hey, let's get rid of the corn oil, turn it into soy oil. Now we'll label that vegetable oil. And the problem is this soy oil, it's hydrogenated. So it's taken through a process where it's cooked, and it's to make it last longer on the shelf, basically. Otherwise it would go bad too quickly. And the problem is when you hydrogenate it, you're making these trans fats, and which we know now that those are pretty darn unhealthy. And you would think, though, that after 40 years, there's been research coming out for all this time that outweighs the government basically saying, hey, soybeans great for you, it's this healthy thing. In fact, when it first was a big thing, it's like, hey, this is so healthy, use it. And then, of course, the research shows absolutely the opposite. Now, the thing is at this point, it's used for a lot of fried foods, especially in restaurants. Again, because it's cheap. You can get this stuff so cheap. It's the cheapest thing out there. So why not use it in everything and everywhere? So whenever something's fried, usually, it's put in packaged foods. It's fed to livestock. It's used in pet food. They even use it when they make that cheap ice cream. They use it to dilute the ice cream. They use soybean oil. And the thing is now we ship it out to foreign countries by the boatload. I mean, it's a big thing. There's a lot of I hate to say money involved in soybeans and soybean oil. Now, this newer study came out of with some newer research published in the Journal of Endocrinology, and they took some mice and they fed one group with regular soybean oil, another group with modified soybean oil. What they did is they started changing soybean oil and making it a little even cheaper by taking it, so the linoleic acid's not in there. And then they took another group of mice and fed them coconut oil, and they're saying, okay, well, what happens to these mice? What's the difference there? And basically, it's negative. It's not good. Well, let me talk about this. Prior to this same group back in 2015, the same group of researchers did another study just on soybean oil, not the modified and not the coconut oil. And they found out that soybean oil induces obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, which is pre-diabetes, fatty liver. So these mice were just getting pretty sick. Now, then when they took this more engineered form of soybean oil, they found that it also, it seemed to induce less insulin resistance and obesity. But then basically in this recent study that they just did, they found out there's really no difference. They both basically do the same thing. They're both just as bad. And actually the thing that they're finding in this study is one of the worst effects is on the brain itself, especially in an area of the brain called the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is pretty darn important. So this is the area of our brain that regulates all of our hormones, which that would include metabolism from our thyroid, our adrenal glands, our sex organs, just across the board, every single hormone in our body is controlled by that hypothalamus. Also, it regulates appetite, body temperature. It's an emotional area of the brain. It's part of our fight or flight system. So many possible problems can result if you start causing issues with the hypothalamus in the brain. So this is why this was published in the Journal of Endocrinology, because they're like, hey, this is not good, and this could be causing a lot of these hormonal issues or other troubles that we're seeing in patients, and even reproductive issues and things like that. So basically, they also saw that soybean oil affects about 100 different genes in these mice also in a negative way, and that this could have ramifications on our ability to manufacture or make energy, have proper metabolism, and also increases diseases such as autism, Parkinson's, some of these diseases related to the brain, and just again, not good stuff. But again, this study just applies to soybean oil. It doesn't apply to a bunch of different oils. That's mainly what was tested here. So now, does that mean throw all the soy out? Well, the thing is if you take fermented soy, there can be some health benefits. There's some documented health benefits on using soy for certain types of things, like what are called soy isoflavones, and fermented soy. There's different foods that's in, like edamame, or the less manufactured it is, or the less processed it is, well, just about anything, the better it can be for you. So, but definitely the oil, not a good thing. There's so many other possible oils you can use, your coconut oils, your olive oils, your all of these other oils can be much better for you than soy oil. So, all right. So if you're cooking with it or using it a lot or eating out a lot, fried stuff, if you got health issues, you're going to want to change this. All right. Well, hopefully everybody enjoyed today and got some good information on soybean oil. And do share us or download this, and let others know about this interesting and important information. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.